love to thug around and love to gang up on people. And when I see thug culture in a community, it can be white trash people in a small town ganging up. It can be black trash ganging up on people. It can be a gang of cops ganging up and acting like thugs. It's called mob psychology. And America now has a mob psychology, and that's when police are dangerous, is when they're in groups and showing off to each other. And no one dare challenge the other because, well, then we're speaking out against a brother. No, you're not. What you're doing is creating a climate that is going to collapse the country. But in the midterm, pressure on police will make them close ranks and be that much more militarized and corrupt, which will lead to the Civil War. So I'm saying let's try to fix it from the public side and the police side. And we can decide what to do later about how big departments should be or what's constitutional. It's just I don't want to play into the larger plan. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense. And you're completely right about the police here. They ought to learn, martial arts. They ought to know all that stuff. And people try to bring up this argument a lot with me that, well, look, man, they have the lowest crime rate in the world of any industrialized country, and they have no guns. Well, you're right. It's completely different. Their mindset is completely different. It's a completely different culture. It's not – you can't transpose Japan onto America and use that argument. It's two completely different mindsets. Their culture is about working together. It's brought up from childhood into the business workforce. It's all about working together. In America, we were born, like you said, we were born out of war. We've always had the guns, and we can't just take the people who follow the orders guns because the criminals will still have the guns. In Japan, no one has the guns already. Even the police don't have the guns. The guns are already on. In America, the criminals will always have the guns. They're not going to turn them in. We're going to make the citizens turn them in, but not the criminals. That makes completely no sense. So it's completely false.
Well, the reason the Japanese don't allow guns also is that's for war. And notice the NYPD has now come out and said, we're in a wartime department now. Yeah, you dressed up like it. You got ready for it. Now it's happening. You acted like soldiers to the citizens, and Lord knows there's a lot of scum in New York. The police have a really bad job, but it's just being around all that constantly. You dance with the devil doesn't change, you change. And the police are a reflection of this country. Did the police abort? It's like 60 million now. I keep saying 50-something million. The number's old. It's 60-something million people aborted. Get me the latest aborted since Roe v. Wade, guys. Thanks. The police didn't put the fluoride in the water. The police aren't setting up world government. The police didn't open the border. All I'm saying is I got big problems with the police. Big ones. But I've got real problems with the brain of the system. That's what's really jacking with us, including the police. 55,772,015. But that number is, again, rounded back, so it's higher than that. I saw a news article a few weeks ago that it's approaching 60 mil. 60 million people that are dead. And then we go, oh, we don't have enough people to pay Social Security now. We've got to import people. We've got to import 50 million illegals. Gee, how many people did you kill? But I forgot I'm a racist. That's why I don't like the fact that, did you know almost half of those are black? Almost half the abortions, if you square the numbers, are black. Man, I could be a liberal Klan member and have black folks eaten out of my hand. Like Senator Byrd and Bill Clinton and all those people. That's why I make jokes at Democrats when I see them around town. I see a state senator that's a Democrat, or I'll say, hey, where are your Klan robes? And they'll always laugh. Because let me tell you, folks, they know. And it just makes me want to throw up. But let me tell you, you want to get something done, the Dixie Mafia, it's even more Dixie up north than it is in the South, I tell you. Not my soul. I'm not signing on to killing 55 million people, half of them black. And I just harp on that over and over again because we got to have a war. We got to kill cops because a couple black guys got shot. One man dies, it's a tragedy. 10,000 dies, is a statistic. I think Joe Stalin said that. All right, I'm going to hit North Korea coming up. More of your calls and a lot more. Wesley in Japan, and I say sayonara to you. We'll be right back. Infowars.com, it says a nation of sheep will beget a government of wolves. Edward R. Murrow, the great journalist, as he's known, because he defended communists. But you could argue he defended the First Amendment, so maybe he is a hero. That's a subject of debate. But what he is doing is changing a quote by Thomas Jefferson. So many quotes I see are just rip-offs of other quotes. The Thomas Jefferson quote is, "A nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves." I think that's a lot straighter, don't you? A nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves. But perhaps it's even more eloquent, I don't know. A nation of sheep will beget a government of wolves. That's probably even more poignant, because it is true. Sheep-likeness, submission, I mean, I've told the story. I'm not looking for trouble, but I was in a little Texas resort town, South Padre, and there was a motorcycle rally going on there, and it wasn't a supposedly, outlaw motorcycle gangs. It wasn't even those guys. But it was just people out there just acting. Most of them were real nice, but some of them were like aggressive, would say stuff to people and be rude to families. And one of them did that to me, and I was like, what the hell is your problem, man? And I'm not looking for trouble, but I was just like, are you ready to back it up? Because you're wearing a leather jacket? I stopped right there, but I mean, I don't like people acting like wolves. Been to a third world country like Nicaragua and seen how the cops act there? It's scary. They act just like gang members that are getting ready to mug you. They get that same look, that same criminal swagger. And when I see it in cops' eyes or anybody's eyes, I'm sick of it. I see it in Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid's eyes. They're a bunch of thugs perched on us, Rahm Emanuel, all these globalists, make me want to throw up. And when I see that little maggot, Kim Jong-un, I'm going to talk more about this in the next segment as well, of North Korea, a hereditary dictator. If he can stay in power another 100 years, they'll have red carpets for his great-great-grandchildren, and Hollywood stars will want to kiss their ring. 3 generations, a hereditary dictator. Most of the country doesn't even have an electricity. Show the map of South Korea at night versus North Korea. Only 2 cities are lit up. Millions have starved to death or died or been eaten. Most families, the children are taken like eggs from a hen, to quote George Orwell, and raised in government facilities to be just mindless, gibbering idiots. And we are to believe that North Korea did this. I believe, and I'm going to give Steve Pachinik's take on this, wrote Net Force and a lot of other big books with Tom Clancy, but I believe this is a false flag, probably by Sony, as a way to super hype this film ahead of a larger release later, and as a way to call for more net censorship and attacks on piracy, because they're tying North Korea now to piracy, online piracy. President Barack Obama is reckless, spreading rumors of North Korea orchestrated cyber attack on Sony Pictures, North Korea says, close quote, as it warns of strikes against the White House, Pentagon, and the whole U.S. mainland, the cesspool of terrorism. Such rhetoric is routine from North Korea's massive propaganda machine during times of high tension with Washington. In a long statement from the powerful National Defense Commission, the powerful. I mean, it looks like a bunch of people make jokes about it because it's so evil and so over the top in their badly tailored little suits, standing around like a bunch of tyranny bots. It's just the opposite of freedom. I mean, it's just, the spirit is just pure evil. But see, the evil that runs our country can sit back and look good juxtaposed to that. We're going to break all this down, talk to Steve Pachinik on this in Cuba and more. Straight ahead, I'll tell you what I really think.
We're on the march.